episode 467 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I'll be talking all about tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite featuring the mandatory meeting of the Jericho Appreciation Society, the Young Bucks versus the Hardys, Adam Cole and MJF visit a trampoline park, Jack Perry takes on Rob Van Dam for the FTW Championship, and who walked out of Dynamite tonight as the AEW Women's Champion. Right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, Wrestling Fanatics. Welcome to tonight's episode of the podcast, 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 467. I am your host, Lance Brock. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. And on this Wednesday episode, well, I almost forgot to say it. It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. We'll be talking about tonight's AEW Dynamite. And then let's get right into it. Tonight, AEW Dynamite was live from Columbus, Ohio, at the Nationwide Arena, I believe. I know I should have put that in my notes. As usual, the worst note taker in all the podcasts. Our commentators tonight, Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, and Taz. And we start things off with the mandatory meeting of the Jericho Appreciation Society. And we see in the ring that Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, Ty Conti, Anna J.A.S., Daddy Magic, Matt Menard, Cool Hand Ange, Angelo Parker are all in the ring. And Daniel Garcia. I know I forgot somebody. They are all in the ring. And they call Chris Jericho out. He comes out to Judas with Columbus, Ohio, singing along. And the first to speak is Daniel Garcia, who I thought was very good on the mic. Cut a very good promo on Jericho here. And he talked about how he pretty much changed what he was with the whole, either was he a pro wrestler or was he a sports entertainer thing. And he said he turned on his heroes and he walks out on Chris Jericho and does that dance that he has been doing as of late. And next up, Jake Hager. He says he's known Jericho longer than anybody in the ring. And he goes over a bit of their history together. And he says, I liked that. And then he also walks out on Chris Jericho. then we hear from the ladies, Ty Conte and Anna Jay. And Ty Conte says it makes her sick, and not just because of the baby. And she says after she has her baby, she will come back for the AEW Women's Championship, but she will not be a part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. She walks out, and so does Anna Jay. So I'm guessing this is the end of Anna JAS, and she's just back to being Anna J now. And then we have Daddy Magic Matt Menard cut a very emotional promo about he grew up watching Jericho, and the first job he got, the first paycheck, he bought a Chris Jericho t-shirt. And when he had no job and a wife and a kid, Jericho helped him get into AEW. But he can't do it anymore either. He walks out. And then we hear from Cool Hand Angelo Parker, who also cuts a very good promo. Actually, I think everyone in the JAS tonight did cut a very good promo as a part of this mandatory meeting. And he walks out on Jericho also. And the last we hear from is Sammy Guevara. And this was another emotional one, hard for him. He's been with Jericho from the beginning of Dynamite, since it was the Inner Circle. And he doesn't really say that he's exactly leaving Jericho like the others did, but he says I forget exactly what he said. I didn't take too good of notes as usual, but he says if he changes his mind, he'll be here. And then Guevara leaves and walks through the crowd. And then Jericho is left alone in the ring. And our first match tonight on Dynamite is the Young Bucks taking on the Hardys, which these two definitely have had great tag team matches in the past. Possibly, like I think Taz said it on commentary, the Hardys probably known as the best tag team in the 2010s, and the Young Bucks, I messed that up. I apologize. Sorry, Taz. What he said was the Hardys were probably known as the best tag team in the 2000s, and the Young Bucks known as the best tag team in the 2010s. Sorry for messing that up at first. But this one, I don't know if I would really say it was as good as the other matches we have seen between the Hardys and the Young Bucks. But I would say for a TV match, especially an opener, I would say this was a pretty good one. I'd give it 3 out of 5 ring bells. And we see the Young Bucks get the win with the BTE trigger. After the match, they show respect to Matt and Jeff Hardy shake their hands, they hug, and Brandon Cutler even sprays them down with some of the cold spray. And then after that, the Young Bucks get on the mic and they call out FTR. And FTR definitely does not make them wait, as Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood make their way to the ring. And at this time, they're face to face, and the Young Bucks just say all in, accepting FTR's challenge for an AEW World Tag Team Championship match at All In London, August 27th on pay-per-view. So that match is now official, and it's definitely hard to believe that when you have those two tag teams, FTR and the Young Bucks, going at it, it's hard to believe that will not be a great match, because I'm sure it definitely will be. Definitely looking forward to that one at All In London. And then we see Adam Cole and MJF, better than you, baby. And Adam Cole promised MJF a fun night, or a fun day, I should say. And they are at a trampoline park. MJF is not too happy about this. They go inside. Of course, there's kids all over the place. Adam Cole is bouncing on a trampoline. He wants MJF to see how high he can bounce. And then finally, the one thing that gets MJF a little interested in the trampoline park is that they have dodgeball. So he goes over there, gets the ball, and nails all of the kids, and knocking them down. You see the balls hit him in slow motion, and Cole tries to stop him at this time. But then there's this one little girl. She says something like, "You're grown men here," and she calls them losers. And then MJF starts to lose his temper. Adam Cole tries to talk him down. But then at this time, the little girl there shows her middle finger to him. And then Adam Cole says one more as MJF throws the ball at the little girl with the bad attitude. So that was the Adam Cole and MJF segment for this week. I thought this one was alright. And I thought at first for a second that when that one little girl showed her middle finger up to him, that instead of throwing the ball at her, they were going to do the double clothesline spot, maybe. Kind of like they did when they were at the Chinese restaurant, what they did with the waiter. They did the double clothesline. And next up, the FTW Championship is on the line. Jack Perry taking on Rob Van Dam, making his AEW in-ring debut. And there was one mistake I made last week when Rob Van Dam debuted. I don't think I mentioned that he came out to walk by Pantera. the same song that he came out to in the original ECW, which back then Paul Heyman didn't care about the trademark issues, the legal issues, or anything with copyright or anything. But of course, when he went to WWE, they changed up his music. And then when he went to TNA, they used the theme song that he was using for his podcast at the time. But now, Tony Khan, you know how he is. He tries to get the rights to actual songs. And he got Walk by Pantera. I thought that was a nice touch. And then let's get into this match. Jack Perry versus Rob Van Dam for the FTW Championship. I thought this was pretty good. And it is under FTW rules. So pretty much anything goes. No disqualifications, no countouts. They use chairs, a table, and at one point, Rob Van Dam hits the 5-star frog splash, but the referee is knocked down, so that takes about 10 seconds or so, almost, and then finally, referee Aubrey Edwards makes her way down to the ring, but then Perry is able to kick out at 2. And then Perry throws RVD into a steel chair that is set up in the corner, rolls him up, and has a handful of tights to get the win as Aubrey Edwards counts the 3. Still FTW champion Jack Perry. Taz, of course, is very upset by Jack Perry holding the FTW championship. The championship that he created. And next up, we have Adam Cole and MJF in the arena this time. And they talk about All in London, and at first MJF thinks that because Adam Cole said he was going to beat him, he thinks that he wants to have a promo battle, and then he starts making fun of Adam Cole. Then Cole says that is not what he wants, but instead he says what he wants is for before All in London, the 0 hour. He talks about all the championships and the accomplishments that he achieved in Ring of Honor, but he was never Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion. And he wants to be one of the World Tag Team Champions with MJF. And then MJF, he's first upset that Adam Cole wants him to wrestle twice in one night. But then he gets on board and challenges Aussie Open for a match at the All in London 0 hour for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. So, another match made official tonight on Dynamite. Better Than You, baby. The AEW World Champion MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and Adam Cole, baby, will be taking on Aussie Open, Mark Davis, and Kyle Fletcher for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships on the 0 hour, which will start here in the United States at noon Eastern, All In starting at 1 Eastern. And, of course, even though they're teaming up on the 0 Hour, MJF and Adam Cole will face off in the main event of All In for the AEW World Championship. Next up, we have the Blackpool Combat Club Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley taking on the Lucha Brothers, Penta El Zero Miedo and Phoenix taking along with Alex Abrahantes in their corner. Pretty good tag team match here, I thought, and I'd have to say probably 3 out of 5 ring bells for me. The BCC get the win. The finish sees Jon Moxley, I should say, take off the mask of Penta. And of course he's trying to cover up, which allows the BCC to get the win. And then after the match, it's a 3-on-1 attack with Wheeler Yuta in there as well. They beat down the Lucha Brothers, and at this time Claudio very disrespectfully puts on the mask of Penta, wearing his mask. Showing him a lot of disrespect here. Definitely looking forward to see what happens next. And I have to rewind a little bit though. I did miss a couple things. Jet Perry versus Rob Van Dam. Or did I? Maybe I did say 3 out of 5 ring bells already. I don't remember if I did or not. Old age. But also the end of the Cole and MJF segment. Roderick Strong comes out once again with the neck brace, upset. And MJF calls him a jealous girlfriend, makes fun of him. And then Roderick says that the Kingdom was right about Adam Cole. And then Mike Bennett and Matt Taven come out with Maria Kanellis, give him a hug. And then Adam Cole at this time gets mad at MJF, says Roderick is his friend, and then he says he just lost his temper, got into emotions fine high, something like that. And the last tag match, BCC versus Lucha Brothers, I'd probably say 3 out of 5 ring bells. And next up we have Swerve Strickland with the Mogul Embassy in the ring. They start to cut a promo. And then we see Darby Allin make his way to the stage. Talk about Swerve. He says, Darby said that he tried to help him, but Swerve never wanted his help, and he was never able to help him. But then he said Swerve ended up getting into AEW on his own. And Darby says he has friends too. And the lights in the arena go out. And then we see the Icon Sting. Tony Schiavone with the usual, "It's Sting!" And he has the bat with him. He takes out the Mogul Embassy. And then we find out this will be a match at All In. And it has been added and will be a coffin match. That should definitely be a good one. And our main event on Dynamite this week for the AEW Women's Championship. Now back to being just Anna Jay. taking on Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's Championship. I thought these two had a pretty good match tonight in the main event. I'd have to say 3 out of 5 ring bells. And Matt Menard and Angelo Parker are in the corner of Anna Jay for this big match. And it is Shida getting the win to retain. Once again, I thought this was a pretty good match between these two women. And that was tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. I thought overall, pretty good show. And I'd have to say 8 out of 10 ring bells. Had some good wrestling on it tonight. I'm glad they announced some more matches for All in London. And just overall, it was a good show. I enjoyed the stuff with MJF and Adam Cole. I enjoyed the Jericho Appreciation Society mandatory meeting. And I am definitely looking forward to August 27th. All in London at Wembley Stadium. Which, like I said, is going to be on pay-per-view. Which I was hoping that would be available on Max. Which I still don't really agree that this is that great of an idea. Since All Out is just the week after. To have 2 pay-per-views, especially if they're both the regular price. $49.99. I just kind of think that's even WWE back in, was it 2012 or 2013 or so, when they had maybe like 15 pay-per-views a year. And I would say the most they had was every 2 weeks. At one time when they had the both Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views. But even they never had 2 pay-per-views back-to-back 2 weeks straight. And some injury news. I'm a little late talking about this, I know. Sonya Deville, one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, or former Tag Team Champions. Because I'm guessing now that maybe she's out, they'll be stripped of the titles. Sonya Deville, out with an injury, will need surgery. So we will have to just wait and see what happens there. Definitely want to send Sonya Deville a speedy recovery. Hope she's not out too long. And that is about it for the news. Don't have too much tonight. And that's all for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 467. Once again, thank you everyone for tuning in. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, or just want to say anything, you can leave your feedback for tonight's AEW Dynamite in the comment section, either here on Spreaker, on YouTube, or on whichever podcast app you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcast on. But that's all for tonight. And I hope to have a new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic tomorrow night, talking about Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor. But one thing is for sure, I will be back tomorrow morning for the Thursday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. So make sure you are here tomorrow morning. And that's all for tonight. Hope everyone enjoyed AEW Dynamite tonight. Hope everyone has a great rest of your night going into Thursday morning. Until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.